Welcome to the Forever Free Space podcast. I am your host, Joyce Van Setters.
I am Pete Moriello, broker associate.
And together we created this space for aspiring and current entrepreneurs to get as much information as possible from thought leaders in their industry. Today, Pete and I did a little something different. We are not in studio. Yeah, we pulled up on a label entrepreneur, a selector, a producer, and someone who has been a big component in breaking barriers in the music space, breaking racial barriers. DJ Bobby Konders, welcome to the show.
Bye. Yeah, man, big up for real. Thank you for having me. I'm looking over there, I assume.
We actually should say thank you for having us since we actually rolled up in your house.
It's all good.
Thank you.
But for all those, I've been a big fan since the 90s, as I told you. For all those who don't know Bobby Konders, tell us where you're from.
Well, I was born actually in a place called Easton, Pennsylvania. Some might know it for Larry Holmes. Two hardworking parents. Then eventually went to school, played a little basketball, migrated. Well, I used to be in Queens all the time as a kid because I had family there. But moved to Brooklyn. Lived actually in the 80s, lived a lot of places because I didn't really have nowhere to live. So I was living in a lot of different places. I lived in Spanish Harlem and lived in the projects in Queens, Ravenswood projects, and then all over Brooklyn. Started mixing for WBLS, interned at WBLS in 1985, 86. Wow. Was fortunate enough to get hired by Fred Buggs and BK Kirkland. Fred Buggs was the music director, BK Kirkland program director. Worked in the library. Back then we had records. I would file the records and actually help, be Buggsy's right-hand man.
How old were you then when you filed the records?
Oh, shit. 20s.
Okay.
And just put the work in, was a DJ, started being able to do a couple mixes for BLS. Might have been some house music, some any kind of music mixes they wanted. And this, what I would say is, for any young kid, whatever genre of business or something you're trying to get into or whatever, just get in the building. You don't know what doors are going to open.
I agree.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
So I know, I listened to the radio station. Now I'm in the building. I'm filing records for Fred Buggs. I know he is. I'm meeting Marley Marl. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Magic.
Wow.
Super Rock and Mr. Magic. I'm meeting the house music DJs, so forth and so on. Got to be able to do mixes for them. And one thing led to another, which gravitated me to go into studios. And then, with the love for reggae music, meeting Philip Smart and going to his studio in Long Island. That was HCF studio in Freeport, Long Island. Some people may know Philip Smart as a engineer that worked under King Tubby's in Jamaica, and then has also mixed songs for Shaggy, Supercat, Shabba, and all them artists out in Long Island. So as BLS, I continued. I did mixes, played for the BLS Sure Shots. Handled pretty good, jump shot not so great. But yeah, and then I actually did some house music that did really well on an independent record label I produced for New Groove Records.
Okay.
And it was called The Poem, featuring a poem by Muda Baruka. Which spoke about racism and this issues in the world. And loved the poem, put it to music, did really well. The 12-inch had some other house music stuff on it. And then I got picked up as a producer and I got signed to Polygram, and I worked with Salam Remy, who was actually, I met him because he was carrying Chuck Chillouts records at the time. He was an 18-year-old kid. He was a beat maker. I'm not a beat maker. I'm more like an idea man. I used to get the records and say, let's sample this, let's loop this. Da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
And we produced a song called Mac Daddy, which did really well in New York, Philly, and certain regions. And then Supercat and Robert Livingston called me, and we did Ghetto Red Hot. And this is 92, 93, I'm thinking. And then I was playing in a lot of the trendy top clubs in Manhattan at the time.
Yeah.
And was playing the house music, some hip hop and reggae. And Funk Flex contacted me and said they're starting a hip hop station. Well, actually, it was Van Gibbs, Slum's father.
Okay.
And Flex, because we're all connected. And we'd like for you to come do a reggae show over here. And that's when after about 7 years or 8 years at 7, 8 years of BLS, I went to Hot 97
Mm-hmm.
around 1993 or 4. I'm not exact on the year. I think maybe 94. I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
And I started on the Reggae Tip show.
Mm.
And within that time, that's when I met Jabba. Jabba's younger than me. He was a teenager.
Okay.
And I started my record label in 92, Massive B.
Massive B.
And then the sound system as well, Massive B Sounds. And I just know with a hardcore sound system, you need an MC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Rory from Stone Love and so forth, so on, Glamour Wayne, Gemini Sound, whatever. You know, you'd have an MC. And Jabba was a young guy, aspiring MC. And I met him in a party. And with the radio show and this division I had, well, Hot 97 is going to be a hip hop station. They're going to have no filter.
Right.
And hip hop is going to run the world. That was just what I thought.
Yep.
Right.
So said, so done.
Yeah.
And when I got the radio show, started the radio show, first really, we brought the party, the reggae dancehall party, to American radio.
Yeah.
Not just Caribbean radio, American radio.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, there was no playlists.
Right.
There was no digital streaming. There was none of that. People would tune in Sundays to hear, they playing them that fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then I brought Jabba, incorporated him in the radio show because I wanted him to be able to promote himself, and he's the voice in the parties for Massive B.
Mm-hmm.
And we just continued to grow, and I would continue with my productions and so forth.
So at that time, you were able to do your own set. You had nobody telling you what to do.
No, because it was a specialty show,
Uh-huh.
and we just kept it true to the point of we played what was hot, the
Right.
new hot songs, and just played all of the fire, all
Right.
the bangers, and the streets loved it,
Yeah.
and the station
remember.
loved it because
Right.
our ratings, even though we didn't follow traditional radio formatting on how you talk or when you talk and
Yeah.
blah blah blah, they said these guys' ratings are off the chain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So this mix show is winning.
Yeah.
From
I
our time
remember.
slot.
I remember in the 90s, I was telling you that we used to have house parties, and you were like the introduction of reggae music to what I think is United States, from reggae artists from UK, reggae artists from Jamaica. You were like that introduction to the
We
United
definitely
States.
were a bridge, especially to the American audience.
Absolutely.
Now, obviously, people from Jamaica and the Caribbean were in tune with their music, but
Yeah.
we obviously brought it to a bigger platform, and we have to say thank you because it was an opportunity, and we have to give thanks for the opportunity. You know, so big up Hot 97, and we're blessed with that opportunity, and we're appreciative of that. So we brought it, and we
What was
still do it.
What's your connection to reggae music? Why reggae?
I loved when the artists would sing around the sound, and I always loved the rawness of it, but then I also loved the cultural aspect. And I never felt you would really get too much message music in American music.
True.
Someone would die, they'd have to go back and play a Marvin Gaye record.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know, capitalism and American record labels, it's just big business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're going to push whatever the agenda is to make money. It's a business.
Right.
Correct.
And that's, people think, oh, they're not real, they're not artists. It's a business. Have a lawyer look at your contract.
Yeah.
So forth, so on. Just know what you're getting into. So just know that. I mean, come on, the best singers, the best rappers sometimes aren't always the ones that sell the most,
That's
Mm.
true.
or that create the illusion of selling the most, or that create whoever's doing the award shows, because the award shows are maybe manipulated by the major labels and so forth, so on.
Right.
It's a business. It's
A lot of
corrupt.
politics.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the world we live in.
True.
So don't feel like you escape it if you go to work for IBM.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or in real estate, they're
Yeah.
not going to sell certain houses to certain people because they're trying to keep that neighborhood a certain color.
Right.
You know, and that's just the world we live in. You know,
Yeah.
and you got to just figure it out and finesse your way through it and try to make it work for your family.
Now, you've been in this game for over 30 years. What keeps you going?
See them lights? You got to keep them on, baby. No, no. I mean, I love it. I love music. I love it. I feel like I'm blessed. You know, I still love it. I still enjoy doing what I do.
You've
You know what I'm
grown,
saying?
like, it seems like you just grown with it too. For WBLS, I think at the time, I think that was probably being the own radio station that was playing like hip hop or whatever.
Well,
From what I remember as a
in the 80s,
younger kid.
middle
Dancehall?
late 80s, BLS was the first station to
They
really
had Red Alert.
incorporate
Yeah.
house music, a reggae song or two, and hip hop
Yeah.
in their
I remember them
playlist.
playing a little bit of everything at that
BLS
time.
was definitely,
Yeah.
and their competitor at that time was Kiss FM, who was
Oh,
that's right.
who was
I forgot about
owned
98,
by
right? Yeah.
98.7.
Yeah.
they were owned by obviously a corporation. Now BLS was owned by the Sutton family, which was, if I'm not mistaken, probably one of the first African American owned radio stations in America.
Oh, wow.
I'm not. I know they're African American owned. I don't know if they're the first.
Okay.
Correct.
But the Sutton family from Harlem owned
That's
the
cool.
station.
That's cool. It's interesting. Didn't know that. And then you hit with Hot 97, and it seems like at that time in '93, Hot 97 was just
Well, it kicked
exploded,
off
right?
because of Funk Flex. Believe me, Funk
Yeah.
Flex took a
Yeah.
lot of verbal abuse when he first went there because
Really?
they were a freestyle station, I think, prior to that.
Oh, okay.
So, he went through it, but he held it firm, and he knew he had the vision and
He's been holding it down for probably as long as you.
no,
have, right?
I got there after him because he
Oh, okay.
helped endorse me getting there.
Got it.
So I got big up Flex,
That's nice.
and so forth. But yeah, the station's been there, and obviously here in 2024, radio is different than it was then.
Right.
Of course.
Kids listen to music differently than how she or I did.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We might have a connection because we went to the record store.
Right.
Yes.
These kids don't go to the record store. That was a meeting spot for us. That was like, oh, I'm getting a new joint. Oh, the
Right,
new
right,
45.
right.
Or I'm going.
Yeah.
I knew where to get the 45s before they even went to the record store.
Right.
After a while, because I knew who was bringing them in from Jamaica.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I
Remember
was
when, like albums dropped, you see these little lines outside when the door opened up, and we're going to get their stuff.
yeah. So
It's not like
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stories, man.
Yeah.
I got like from being in the clubs, the whole radio thing and everything. But you're interviewing people. You love the music. You're interviewing Bounty Killer, Shabba, Supercat, Dennis Brown, Nicodemus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
All these foundation great reggae artists.
Let's take it back a little bit. So for aspiring and current entrepreneurs that are just watching this, that let's say want to be a DJ, what are some tips you would have from them? And tell us a little bit about how you started Massive B.
Okay, well, as a DJ, if I was a kid starting today, I would assume, and would I tell anybody, this could be an artist, a young kid trying to be a DJ, have your social media going. It's almost today is less about how good you are at your craft, whereas can you sell yourself?
True.
Can you sell the dream? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think from an artist perspective, I think a great example for a rapper would have been Cardi B.
Mm.
He may not agree with everything she was saying on social media and her message, but the way she sold herself
Yeah.
made the kids check for her.
Mhm.
And then eventually they got into her music.
Right.
And she used Instagram and I don't know, Facebook, but seen her off of Instagram.
Yeah.
For a DJ, I think it's the same thing. You could, you're going to promote yourself. If you can't get booked by the DJ or by the promoters, whatever, maybe you got to start your own party within your neighborhood, your community, and whoever your peers are, and start developing it that way and start building relationships with other people, because a lot of things are building relationships with people.
True.
But I would say key thing for a DJ is have your social media go and be relevant. Key thing for a young artist, rapper, reggae dance artist, social media, and figure out how you can use that to build attention to yourself. Then as a DJ, well, wherever you DJ, play for the people, not for yourself. Look at the crowd you're DJing for. Identify, is it your peers? Well, obviously, when I'm DJing for a younger dancehall crowd, they're younger than me, but they still rate me because they booked us.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the crowd. Was this a 30 and under crowd or a 30 and over crowd? Is this a hardcore Jamaican crowd? Is this a Caribbean crowd?
Right.
Is this Caribbean Yankee American crowd? Well, maybe I got to play some hip hop too then. So forth, so on. Identify the crowd.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, because I would say that in reference to someone posting on social media as well. Don't post for yourself, post for your audience.
Right.
True.
Now tell us about how you started Massive B.
Well, the sound system, was when I became not this Bobby Konders, a street DJ, Massive B, Massive Sounds. I wanted to be more authentic reggae, dancehall. And I started that and brought Jabba in as the MC, like I said earlier. And yeah, we just started playing in the parties. I was already hot because of the mixes I was doing from just playing in trendy clubs and there's other parties. And then with the radio show and us getting a big following from that aspect, other promoters was booking us, the hardcore promoters.
Yeah.
Because these guys is hot. They're on the radio. They're playing, effing up the clubs. You know what I'm saying? People enjoying it.
Feel free.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
What was some of your favorite clubs back in the day that you'd like to play at? Because I don't know any New York clubs anymore. So
yeah, well, it was different. I mean, for Massive B and me and Jabba, we played from the smallest spot to mainstream clubs. But we started playing in Brooklyn like 1994 on Sundays.
Okay.
And we started working for David Levy. And then after about 2 years, I think we started working at a next club on Utica Avenue in Brooklyn. I forget the name of it. And we were playing with us, Soul Supreme and Dubmaster. And then we just moved to another, which was Caribbean City on Empire Boulevard in Crown Heights. And that's, you can more or less say, when Fire Sundays kind of started. Gotcha. Even though we didn't call it that at the time. We was just DJing there for a fee. I went to the owners and I told Jam, I'm going to the owners because the fee not really, the math ain't mathing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then we, short story, went to Manhattan for about a year or two, came back to that club where became our party then. And it was just Fire Sundays. We were there for about 16, 17 years, up until the other day. Oh, wow. And then we went to Sugar Hill in Bed-Stuy. There for about a year or two. Then COVID came, and we dated there about a year or two after COVID. And then Utica Avenue, Brooklyn. So that's Fire Sundays. Fire Sundays now is at 1007 Utica Avenue between Tilden and Snyder, heart of Brooklyn. Same thing. Basically everyone free to midnight. It's in Brooklyn. It's a reggae dancehall, play a little hip hop, soca. It's a fun party.
Nice.
But like parties in general, wow. We were blessed this summer, me and Jabba, to play for the New York City, the parks. I don't know if it was the Parks and Recreation, I forget. Big up Joe Jackson. He lined it up with the mayor. And we were playing at all the free shows.
Oh, okay.
Played in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Coney Island, Queens. We played
nice.
with Marshall Montana and TJ and Spice and Wayne Wonder and Sham and all the shows, Fat Joe, and it was great. Them shows were really, really fun. The other day we played for Buju's first show in Long Island, Elmont, I guess, or wherever. 19,000 people and flattened it. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. So
it's great because over the years now, Jabba, it's on one Massive B, but over the last, 12, 15 years maybe, Jabba does his bookings because I lined him up with somebody to mix for him. Okay. And then I got another MC, a guy named Lando Hype, that is my main MC. Okay. That goes with me. Okay. You have Love and Harmony Cruise, which is Barris Hammond, Buttafuoco Jabba organized this thing called Love and Harmony Cruise with Barris Hammond, and it's been going on for about six years now, or whatever. Happens around March or April every year. It's a cruise that leaves from Miami, goes to Jamaica, and then another island, and then back to Miami. It's about a week long. Okay. In 2025, next year, I think it's in March. The flyer's actually right there, hanging on the wall. Love and Harmony Cruise. You're gonna have Barris, Bounty Killer, Beanie Man. Wow. Elephant Man, Capleton, Sanchez, Richie Stevens. So it's a great cruise. And then when it comes to this parties, sometimes who the promoter is, and they have a crowd, right? And the vibes are just mad. Wow. It could be anywhere in Brooklyn, small spots in Brooklyn. We played everywhere in Brooklyn, Bronx. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, do you still go over to Jamaica and DJ? Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go down there January 4th with Jabba. I'm gonna try to check out Cartel's first show, December 31st. And then January 4th, they have a concert called Intimate with Barris and Buju. So we're going to DJ on that. I mean, we used to play that early Fully Loaded in the late 90s, early 2000s. We went to some other places back in the day and we go down there and play. But we're so booked out here, especially, you know, back in the day.
Yeah.
We're still booked out.
Booked with DJing gigs or?
Yeah, DJing gigs. Yeah, that. You know, you're gonna go where you get your paper. You know, you got. You know, my daughter went to college, graduated college. I have a son in school. So you gotta make. You know, you gotta. This is what we do. So you gotta get your bread. You need 7 jobs in New York. You're supposed to know that. You know, Jersey, New York. You need a bunch of jobs just to.
When did you transition to Jersey from New York?
Well, I always got a spot in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
So it's back and forth.
Okay.
You know. But this, even with the record label and starting the record label, that was just when I started the record label in '92. It was just seeing that, well, I made these records for these other labels and they just pressed up records and sold 3,000-4,000 units. I did the math. Well,
right.
3,000-4,000 or 5,000 units times $2-3 is $10,000.
Yeah.
Do the math. So that's why I started doing my own records and pressing my own records and starting my own label. And I would press in Jamaica, and then I would press in America. You know, I know this sounds probably antiquish to people 30 and under, but I would press the records, bring them back from Jamaica, or you know, they would distribute in Jamaica, but for America, and then I would sell them out of my car. And then as the label got more popular, with songs I produced and certain songs hitting in Jamaica or just hitting maybe in Europe or wherever, I got accounts in Europe. I get now I go get a UPS account. I'm shipping things around the world. Open up a corporate bank account. Well, I had that already, but then you got people wiring your money, and you know, you're trying to build relationships with people because sometimes you'd have to give one distributor $3,000-4,000 worth of consignment, so he could sell it, and then within a 2-month time, send you back. So you have to get your money right, because not only you got to voice the song in Jamaica, you got to mix it in Jamaica or Brooklyn, studio time, you got to build the rhythm, the beat, you got to pay musicians. Now, then you got to press the record. Well, that's a process. You got to master the record. You got to get the lacquer. You got to get the metal plate. You got to print the labels. You know, all of these things. Now you got to, then you got to press it. That's the next money. How many are you going to press? You got to do the math. Well, this artist is going to sell more than that artist, so maybe I press 3,000 to this one and 1,500 to this one. Notice I ain't calling no names. I ain't want no
right. No.
You know what I'm saying? So, and now you know you're out $20,000 maybe, or 15 or 10 or whatever.
It's like having money on the street.
And then you got all these distributors that need product, and now you got 50 or 60 G out in the street, and then but you're building catalog. So now when the distributors are hitting you, oh, I want the new rhythm, I want the mixtape, but give me XYZ of the old stuff, because that's selling, because it's catalog.
Got it.
And then export that. So it's just like, I did that for 20 years up until 2007. I milked it as long as I could. I'm bad with transitions. You know what I'm saying? I was the last guy in Brooklyn playing vinyl. I went to the Elite Arc one time and they said, Konders, we're not setting the turntables up no more. Get a CD book, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, vinyl's coming back now.
For
collectors, right?
Novelty. No disrespect to the nerds, but
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a novelty thing. Oh, cool, I got a record.
Right.
I'm gonna put it on. It's not like I'm gonna sell units and cake off.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And yeah, so that's just how the label thing went. And then obviously I had to transition into the CDs, and that was rough for me. And now transitioning into MP3s, which is a whole nother argument about the digital world, which I'm not a fan of.
What's your favorite, though? Is vinyl your favorite?
It worked best for me from a producer, entrepreneur.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think they give the illusion that, anybody can make music now. Yes, it's so easy to make music now.
Right.
But try to monetize it. Try to monetize it and make money off it. You're not really going to make, 99.9% of people aren't making money off of Spotify.
Yeah.
And these streaming platforms, because you might make a $80. You know how hard it is to get 1 million streams?
Yeah.
Right.
Just to get $3,000
Right.
or $4,000?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Nah, it's just, you get less than a penny a stream.
Yeah.
Where I was making $2 a record.
That's a whole different hustle.
So
yeah, and then you got, like I said, you got to have analytical people that know how to finesse the game to get them streams or whatever or however. And like, I didn't need, the reason why I started my label was because, yes, I was signed as a producer to a major label. And I give thanks for the opportunity, but you're giving music to a company. They're going to do what they want to do with it. I eat the food still. I'm good. But when you're doing it from your own perspective, from the grassroots, from in the dirt, and doing it and pressing it and hustling it, it's your thing.
Yeah.
You're doing it. How hard you want to work? How hard you going to grind? Yeah. Grinding ain't a problem for me. Yeah. Sitting behind the desk is a problem for me.
It's a sweat equity. Sweat equity. You're just putting it in.
Yeah. So that was cool. Now, you know, to kids that grew up with computers and so forth, this is their world. I don't know. I guess some people are eating, you know, I'm not really in the hip hop world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, to each his own. You know, I'm still trying to finesse it and learn, and forever trying to learn.
What I've always loved about you, though, what I've always loved about you is you've never had that like crossover to pop. You've always kept it raw. How did you stay with that? How did you stay with just?
I think that's probably just me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think being this true to yourself. And I never really had that fake vibe with me, you know, and probably to my detriment. I probably closed some doors because I maybe didn't play ball or didn't just accept certain things.
Yeah. Right. But there's also that audience that you bring in that that doesn't accept the public's consciousness. So I think that was my attraction to your music back in the day and still today. Yeah,
I mean, I think there's going to be people that want the hardcore and love the hardcore. There's kids in Jamaica that are, and wherever in the world, any genre of music are going to do what they authentically feel.
Yeah.
Now the older generation might say, "Oh, that ain't what it was, and it ain't as good," or blah blah blah. And you have to understand, kids that are 25 are making music for their peers. They're not making it for 45-year-olds.
Right.
They're making it for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would hear it with that's mumble rap or whatever. Them kids making that rap, that's they're doing their thing.
Yeah. Right.
And it might be a takeoff of your thing, but they're not doing your thing.
Right.
That was mommy's thing and daddy's thing. They're doing their thing.
Right.
And music is youth driven. And you have to just appreciate the spirit of young generations. And as an older dude or whatever, you can maybe say, well, maybe you try this, that, and the other, but you have to let kids fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Absolutely.
That's actually really good. That's a really good gem, right? We call them gems.
Yeah.
I really like that because I always hear like older generation always, I don't want to say shitting on the younger generation, but, it's like your parents or our parents saying that our music was not what their music was.
Oh my God. I remember when rap first came out.
Yeah.
In the late 70s. Urban radio wouldn't play it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That ain't music. Because you're going from, who was hot then? Stylistics and real singers, Teddy Pendergrass and, 70s soul and real, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Which
right.
Of course.
is real singing.
Right.
To a hip hop, went down the block, but that, you know what I'm saying? Like, but obviously, and then the major labels, this is before the major labels, and the major labels said, oh, wow, we can make money off of this.
We got something.
It's cheaper. They can make the music cheaper than hiring a band.
Mm-hmm.
They're just sampling up music or whatever. Well, actually, the first rap records, they were playing the music.
Yeah.
The first rap records.
Oh, yeah.
With on Enjoy Records with Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, Treacherous 3, Spoonie G. They were actually using bands.
Instruments.
I think even before the Sugar Hill label, but then they were using bands. Then when they could realize they could just do it with samples and drum machines, it became cheaper to make. And I think that's after a period, sort of, I don't know if it's a demise, but the ending of the rock era in the late 80s, the 90s, probably, right? Because MTV's heyday was the 80s, maybe?
80s, yeah.
And it was all that rock and roll shit.
Yeah.
You know, like hard rock, heavy metal or whatever. And when the major labels felt, oh, wow. Early, I guess they were learning from Run DMC on down.
Right.
You know, they said, oh, wow, we can make this, sell the same as much records with less studio time.
Yep.
And, you know, so forth, so on. But whatever, it's a whole other argument. You know.
I've never heard anyone break it down like that before. That's super
deep.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Now you're still making music today, right, Bobby?
These labels it's just money.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of cats are getting fired from major labels. You know what I'm saying? From what I see the other day. My daughter says you can't get your information off of Instagram. So I may be gullible.
You're still making music today, right?
Yeah, I just I brought back this rhythm. I released a rhythm in 2011 with Vibes Cartel, the week before he got incarcerated. He had a song called Me Get Gal Easy, Fuck Them Easy. And then I have a song called Ghetto Roads, Ink and Board. And one was a reality song, one was like a girl song. And this the other day I brought the rhythm back with Pablo YG, a song called Turn Up the Club.
Okay.
Naja's on the rhythm, Cyclone Sprague. I Wooders on the rhythm. And I'm just dropping, I sent it to my distributor, Ineffable. It's gonna release November 1st. A real big sensation out of Jamaica, Naiji Boy, who's a blind singer who actually just graduated college.
Wow.
A couple months ago, I think. He went to some school, maybe one of the SUNYs in Albany. I'm not sure. He bust the other day with a song produced by Russian called Continental Boss. And it's funny, like his imagery is great because he's a blind kid and all his songs are about girls. You know, and he's very talented, incredible writer.
I'm sure his other senses are stronger.
Yeah, well, then we have a song called Coming Out in Old Gallus. So I just got the iTunes cover made. I said, hold on. So yeah, with that, and I mean, if people want to check my history, like the Massive B label, you know, let me tell you, I got to big up Burro Banton as well, because Burro Banton has been down with Massive B. I met Burro in the late 80s in Brooklyn at Biltmore Ballroom, and he's been rolling with me. Well, we became friends, and then he started voicing for me around 94.
Okay.
And we put out a lot of records and toured Europe, Japan, the whole nine. And always spent, we family, you know what I'm saying? Living in the studio together. I go to Jamaica. I actually rented an apartment from his sister. He took over the apartment this back in the 90s, and we would always do our studio work, and he'd be there with me voicing Bounty Killer, TOK, or whatever.
Yeah.
And like some of the big songs on the label, like 95, we hit with Bounty Killer, Suicide or Murder, remixed it with J. Rue the Damager on a hip hop beat. The beat was Blasey Blas beat, When the East is in My House, because we're all connected from Brooklyn. We were friends, our friends. And Bounty played it in the verses against Beanie Man.
Okay.
Yeah, that was big. A bunch of other songs, late 90s, Shine had a big song on the Cuss Cuss rhythm with King Kong and Burro. And 2004, we hit with Richie Spice, In the Streets is Getting Hot, Youth So Cold. And year after that, TOK, Galia Lead. And then the Cartels I just mentioned. And it's continually putting music out.
Yeah.
You know, some songs are regional, like they're big in Jamaica. Some songs are big in Europe.
Okay.
Like Burro had a crazy fan base in Italy and Germany.
Really?
His songs would hit crazy.
Interesting.
Like we toured, and I just came back from Italy the other day. We was all, I did a festival in Belgium and went to south of Italy, Salento and Lecce, and I've been going there for 25 years.
Nice. Now you've worked with so many different artists. Give us a fun story from one of your artists you've worked with. I'm sure you have 100. Thousands.
Well, Nicodemus used to say, boy, Bobby Konders, you deal with the artist good, because I always had the weed and the white rum in the refrigerator. And this is in Brooklyn, where he would just come and, come hang out with me and voice dub plates or a song. And, I just say, yo, Deems, everything is, the weed's there, the Ray and Nephew's right in the fridge. And it's good, pleasant vibes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't want to incriminate nobody or no crazy shit.
No, we're not. We're not.
I ain't the TMZ guy. I ain't the Mixie guy. So, Yeah, but I mean, it was just good vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Bounty Killer's always been cross, angry, and miserable, but always comes through for me.
Okay.
It's my G, and as well as Anthony B and Spragg and Elephant Man and so many artists that I've been blessed just the opportunity, like, just clean hearts and good guys, good people. You know
I love
what I'm
it.
saying?
So I just want to be around, yeah.
Yeah. So now you're doing, you still on Hot 97?
Yeah, Sundays 9 to 11,
9
me
to
and
11.
Jabba.
Okay. And you do that out of your studio now?
Well, from a radio perspective, let's just say we do it from Hot 97.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it may pre-record due to situations with artists or whatever, but let's just say broadcast Hot 97 Sundays 9 to 11. Go to the Hot 97 app, make sure you check it out.
And that's you and Jabba?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell a friend.
Real Jabba on the gram, and I am Bobby Konders, Konders on the gram. I don't know why I'm looking at that one. I should be looking at that one. I'm looking
Bobby,
at
you can look
that's
at
looking
whatever
at
camera you want.
That one there. So yeah, and then as well as the Master B gram and so forth.
So what else you got going on, Bobby?
Well, I told you about, you know, the Love and Harmony cruise. You know, we'll be on that. That's really big.
Okay.
This is Sundays in Brooklyn. These songs that are currently out, their videos, you can go to Master B TV or just type in the artist or whatever. We'll go to Master B TV and check out our YouTube page. And like I said, the Nigee's dropping, and just trying to be best baby father, you know?
Love it. Love it. The dopest thing right now would be to put on some music, some reggae music right now, right? And just
vibe.
just vibe out. On the way home, we're definitely playing a Bobby Konders set.
You play playlist, or you have a CD in your car?
Playlist.
Okay.
Yeah, off of Apple Music or Spotify. Yeah. Bobby, this was great. As again, I've been a fan since the 90s. I mean, we used to have our own little, what we called massive B parties.
No, that's dope, and I appreciate the love. This, you know, and you taking the effort just to come do this and take your time and coming out the way to my residence.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, we're big fans.
So no, that's love, and I got to big up Nick, because I met Nick through my son through the school.
Yeah. And
Nick made the link. And I'm like, what the Nick are you doing? You know what I'm saying? I thought he was calling to come play basketball or something. But I don't know your connection with Nick, but he's a good kid.
Nick is interning for my company.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy, and I know his father.
Looks up to him.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Because
awesome.
he just graduated school, and World is 3 years probably younger than him.
Okay.
But they, you know, World plays little. My son's name is World. He plays basketball, and Nick played ball.
Okay. So Nick actually goes to college with my youngest stepdaughter.
And that's out in Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Centenary.
So that's dope. Nah.
Yeah. So that's
we hung
how
out.
I know.
We all hung out. I took Drop World off with him one day. World hung out with Nick in the city. They played basketball.
Yeah.
And then actually we met at Great Adventure too. I met his mother, the whole nine, and his friends. You know, good guy, man.
Awesome.
I'm happy for him.
Again, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciated this. I think I got goosebumps a little bit when you were bringing up all the artists. But we want to let you know we're still on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube. And if this is something that resonates with you, join our community, because we promise the best is yet to come.